everybody, and today we will be playing Bones Grixis list again. But Kano, what gives? You just did a Mad Magic and you played this deck. Yeah, I did. So, about that. I got really tilted, and I did not do the deck justice. Several people pointed out, like, oh yeah, no, you did a terrible play here, why did you do that? The answer? I was tilted and I played a 3-hour league consecutively. I was kind of in a time crunch because I needed to get a video out, and it just wasn't a good time. So what we're going to do today, and what's going to be different, I'm going to play this deck through another competitive league, but because I have time, and plenty of it, I will be taking breaks in between each match or every other match, restarting the client, doing all of that off camera. I've gotten a couple of reps in 2-mans and won with them. So hopefully I know the ins and outs of the deck a little bit better. And yeah, so that's the plan. No adjustments to the list. I think the list is fine. Also, super stoked. We hit 500 subscribers. We're currently sitting at 502. Thank you everybody so much. I really, really appreciate you guys doing that. It's a huge milestone for me, and I'm super stoked about it. All right, so let's go ahead and take this Grixis list into a Modern League. Alright, here we go. Round 1, I would love to play first. This hand is a little bit risky. We do have potentially 3 redraws to hit a land, so I'm going to keep this. We are going to be fetching up a Watery Grave, so that we have access to Cling to Dust mana. And I really like having Search for Iskanta with 2 Thought Scours. That strikes me as powerful. Okay, opponent starts with a single white mana, so this could be Death and Taxes, this could be, Weenie, Stoneblade, a few different things, okay? Need to draw land. Okay. One thing, this is a general piece of advice for any deck playing Thought Scour. If the deck is designed for you to Thought Scour yourself, you should almost never Thought Scour your opponent. This deck isn't exactly like that, because we do have Drown in the Lock, so occasionally we will want to Thought Scour our opponent. But even if you're looking for land and you're worried about milling land, it is still correct to Thought Scour yourself. Do not fall into the fallacy of, oh, well, if I mill a land, it's going to feel really bad. I mean, it might feel bad, but it's still what you have to do. So, fun fact about Logic Knot and Thalia interaction, we will be able to Logic Knot something here. Opponent plays an Eldrazi Displacer, so we need to kill Thalia to unlock our mana and play this Search for Iskanta. Okay, Island is good. So blue, play Search. Pass the turn, leaving up Cling to Dust. We do have to be careful a little bit. We don't have much to interact if our opponent does play a Leonin Arbiter here. We're kind of screwed. They hit us for 3. 3 mana, they have a Skyclave Apparition. Well, unfortunately, we cannot interact with that. I would like to gain life, but I think I need to draw cards because we really need to hit lands. So I'm going to Cling to Dust my own Scalding Tarn and draw a card. We hit a Frantic Inventory. Skyclave Apparition comes down and exiles Search for Iskanta. We untap, we draw Scalding Tarn, play Scalding Tarn, and pass the turn. So we have access to Logic Knot plus Frantic Inventory, we have access to Kolaghan's Command or Cryptic. We're going to take the damage, because if we were to target with Kolaghan's Command and try and kill Skyclave Apparition, they could just flicker it in response. That could be really bad for us. 2 mana, opponent is going to play Thalia. Okay. So I'm going to fetch up a basic island here, and we are going to Cryptic. And we are going to counter Thalia and bounce Displacer. Yeah. So we're basically doing this because we're going to try and limit our opponent's clock a little bit here. We do have Frantic Inventory and Logic Knot. Okay, opponent has a Tide Hollow Sculler. So they can take whatever they consider to be our best play next turn. Probably Kolagon's Command. If they don't take Kolagon's Command, we can kill Skyclave Apparition and destroy target artifact to kill Tide Hollow Sculler, which is nice. If we draw a land, we could Kess and then Fatal Push. Okay. Opponent takes K Command. We draw Cryptic. Pass the turn. So they appear to be black-white taxes or Eldrazian taxes. Opponent attacks for 4. That's fine. Go to 2. 4 mana, our opponent is going to play Thought-Knot Seer. Frantic Inventory. Let's draw some cards. Okay. Logic Knot, Thought-Knot Seer. I don't know if they play Simian Spirit Guide. They probably don't. So I'm going to delve X3. I should probably only delve X2. But, because I do have Cling to Dusts in the grave and such, but... We draw Creeping Tar Pit, play Tar Pit, pass the turn. Okay, so opponent goes to combat. I'm going to Lightning Bolt Skyclave Apparition. I should have waited till they declared attacks, actually. So we are going to get a creature that can block. They go to combat, they attack. They're going to path. So, push Tide Hollow. We get back Kolagon's Command. And we're going to get a basic Swamp, I think. Opponent replays Displacer. Alright, so Displacer is a problem. Vial is not really a problem. We untap. We draw Mountain. Mountain, I think, is actually perfect. So we can play Kess. So this is the tough part. We need to answer Displacer, and the question is how. If I play Kess, I can't have Cryptic, and I think I'm going to need Cryptic. So between Kolagon's Command and Cryptic Command, I think we're fine. I could technically animate Creeping Tar Pit and block and leave up Cryptic, or leave up Kolagon's Command after the fact. Really depends on what my opponent does here, I guess. I could also cast Cling to Dust. I think I'm going to try Repulsing Displacer and drawing a card. We have no Snapcasters in the grave. Oh, no, we do have a Snapcaster in the grave. So that's something we have to be aware with Kolagon's Command that we can do. So opponent plays Displacer. Okay. I am going to return Snapcaster to my hand and destroy Aether Vial. Alright, we untap. We draw Mystic Sanctuary. So I can play Field, activate Field on Ghost Quarter so they can't interrupt our mana, and then Snapcaster Fatal or play Kess and play Fatal Push. I'm not sure if we have basics left, though, actually. I guess I'll find out. I think I have an island left. Awesome. Okay, play Kess. Now we're going to take over the game. Fatal Push Displacer. Pass the turn. I think my opponent is playing Collective Brutality, and if they are, we could die immediately, potentially. Opponent Flicker Wisps a land. Sure. Plays Aether Vial. Okay. Opponent is out of action. We untap and draw Drown in the lock. So, Mystic Sanctuary. Put Cryptic Command on top of our deck. Kolagon's Command. Destroy Aether Vial, kill Flicker Wisp. Cling to Dust, hit a we don't have to do that yet. We can just attack. Okay. I think we completely have this game under control now. I don't think there's anything they can do. We have a counter spell, a kill spell, a Snapcaster to buy anything we want to back. ways to gain life, ways to draw cards, and a cryptic command on top of our library, so I think this game is unlosable. It's just a question of whether I mess up or... Alright. Whether there's something our opponent has that I don't recognize as an actual threat. So, I do want Collective Brutality, potentially to gain life and kill something early, like a Thalia. Anger of the Gods seems like it might be important here. Engineered Explosives could be good, and also might not be at the same time. Ceremonious Rejection seems powerful, but I'm pretty sure they play Cavern. So the question is, what do we cut for Collective Brutality, Double Anger, and Logic Knot? So Eliminate seems kind of bad, because it doesn't kill Thought Knot Seer, and neither does Anger. So we have to be wary of when we use Fatal Pushes and when we can buy them back. I think cutting Logic Knot here is correct. Actually, I don't want Collective Brutality in this matchup. We'll have plenty of removal that hits Thalia, but doesn't hit the larger creatures, so I think not having Collective Brutality is fine. And then I'm going to cut probably Force of Negation. It's really only good to hit Aether Vial on turn 1, which means the other Force of Negation probably ought to be a Cling to Dust or Logic Knot, I guess, or even Ceremonious Rejection. We're going to try it like this. Okay. The other thing when you're playing a control deck on Moto is you want to make sure that you're using your time. If it's an unfamiliar matchup, you have to use your time carefully. This is very close to keepable. I think double Cryptic means a mulligan to 6 is probably better. I do like this slightly more. I'm going to put back Cryptic. Double Frantic Inventory means we're going to have a lot of card draws unless our opponent has Thalia, which they usually do. They start Aether Vial. I'm glad we kept a hand with Kolaghan's Command. Start Tar Pit, pass the turn. But what was I saying? So yeah, in between games, when you have time to sideboard, because your clock is going to matter a lot, you should be thinking through what plays you can make, and when. If it's an unfamiliar matchup, you need to think of, like, really consider your cards, use all of your time, think about the matchup as much as you can. Okay, so opponent brought in Forge Tenders because they are worried about red sweepers. So we learned something. Okay. On my opponent's end step, we have to activate Frantic Inventory. Steam Vents is great. Untap. Draw Snapcaster. Shock Steam Vents. Pass the turn. So we will likely be Kolaghan's commanding here. Okay, opponent did not activate Vial on 2. So what we're going to do is make our opponent discard and destroy their Vial on 2, because either they have a 2-mana creature they don't want to play right now, or they only have 3-cost creatures in their hand. So they discard Displacer, which means it's probably the latter. So if my opponent Vials in a 2-drop creature here, it's either Arbiter, and they're doing it while we're tapped out, or... Alright. Okay, we do draw the 4th land. Opponent is Vialing on 2. Alright. If it's an Arbiter, I'm going to be a little upset, but... is a Tidehollow Sculler. For Sculler... does that matter? Alright. Take a look at our hand. We have a lot of good cards. They can take Frantic Inventory and stop us from drawing a lot of cards, but then we would just Factor Fiction. We could even just run out Kess, which is big enough to body block Tidehollow Sculler, force them to have an answer. It would suck if she got pathed, because she's like our late game source of damage and control. She is the late game value, but the opponent takes Snapcaster. They are most afraid of Snapcaster, so we can either Frantic Inventory, or we can just run out Kess, or we can Factor Fiction. Basically, any way this goes, I'm fetching up a basic island. We don't have double red for Anger, but that's not that important right now, considering our opponent does have Forge Tender. And I think I'm just going to run out Kess. This might be wrong. If I had a counterspell or a kill spell, I would probably hold up Factor Fiction. But because I don't, I'm going to run out Kess, because I really, really want to cast this Kolaghan's Command. Okay, we'll get the basic mountain for the second red source. And now we're to the point where we can potentially frantic inventory into a Kolaghan's Command and make our opponent very sad. This only stops damage, right? Okay, we draw a Lightning Bolt. So... Okay, pass the turn. Let's see if I can draw a Kolaghan's Command now. Fatal Push is nice. I'm gonna Fatal Push the Forge Tender. It's a Flicker Wisp, and we are not gonna let them have that value. I should have tapped just the basic Mountain. But it doesn't matter that much, I don't think. Awesome, and next turn we're going to Snapcaster Kolaghan's Command, taking out their only way to play creatures and their only creature. Actually, I'm not even going to target the Flicker Wisp, because we have other removal for that. I'm going to make my opponent discard. We draw another Anger of the Gods. Okay, I'm going to do this on my opponent's upkeep, or my end step. If they activate Vial, I will destroy it and make them discard in response. Okay, so on my opponent's upkeep, Snapcaster Mage. We are going to target Kolaghan's Command. Okay, so now we Kolaghan's Command, target player discards a card, destroy target artifact. Red, red, black. Okay, opponent vials in a 3-drop in response. It is a Campbell Consul of Allocation. So that punishes us for each non-creature spell we cast by draining us for 2 life and giving our opponent 2 life. Opponent does finally draw a second land. And they play a Thalia. They are completely hellbent. Awesome. They just ran everything out into an Anger of the Gods they know about. And we drew an Eliminate. So we'll go ahead and Anger. Opponent gains 2, and then we exile their board. Nice! Oh, man. We are really bringing the smackdown today. Okay, we draw Thought Scour, which, not a bad card to have. Pass the turn. No reason to Thought Scour right now. Okay, opponent cracks Silent Clearing on their main phase, plays a Swamp, no other playable cards. That means they're either holding a land or they're holding a Thought Knot. So, Thought Scour ourselves. They could also be holding like a Path, I suppose, as well. Fact or fiction? Multiple Cling to Dusts or Drown in the Loch. Yeah, I'll take a pile of 4. I'm holding the Snapcaster. It's not like I need anything else. Alright, untap. We draw Cryptic Command. Cryptic Command is nice. Play Blood Crypt tapped. Pass the turn. We're going to discard Field of Ruin to hand size, because we don't need it. Okay, opponent plays in Eldrazi Displacer, which is in no way threatening. At my opponent's end step, I'm going to Cling to Dust, a Tide Hollow Sculler, gain some life. I will Field of Ruin my opponent to get our basic Swamp. Oh, never mind, our basic Swamp's in the grave. Okay, untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Is there any reason to hold off on that Lightning Bolt? I'm just going to do this now. I think the worst thing my opponent could do is path their own creature, and they definitely don't have that. Okay, so now we will Cling to Dust again to get more life, play a Watery Grave tapped, and now we have Cryptic. And we are totally fine on life. They did have a Thought Knot Seer. Okay, Cryptic counter draw, and that'll probably draw Concession. Yeah. Awesome. Alright, well, we started off really strong. We made intelligent plays, we took intelligent lines, and I'm feeling better about this today. So, we're going to really try to bring the pain this league. I'll see you guys in round 2, but right now I'm going to take a short break. Alrighty, round 2, here we go. Okay, I would love to play first. Oof. I think Brazen Borrower makes this okay with the, between Brazen Borrower and a cantrip. We do need to draw a land, and we do need to draw mana of more than 1 color, because we are a 3-color deck, but I think this hand is okay to keep. The payoff seems pretty high if we hit our mana. So, start island, pass the turn. Okay, opponent starts Windswept Heath, fetches for a forest and an Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, so we Thought Scour ourselves, milling Scalding Tarn and Snapcaster Mage. We untap, we draw Search for his content. So play field, play Search. We really need to hit our mana. The only way that this is... I kind of wanted to Brazen Borrow or Unsummon there, but the only way that this is really bad is if my opponent has Flagstones to sack. Okay, they don't. They just shock a Sacred Foundry, and they pass. Search for Iskanta finds us a Creeping Tar Pit, which I am not willing to mill, because we do need lands very badly. So, Creeping Tar Pit tapped. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent is going to sack for Elvish Reclaimer. Let's see what they get. If they do get Flagstones, I'm going to unsummon Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. I want to slow my opponent down from ramping as much as possible, give myself as much time as I can to get my other stronger answers online. Okay. Okay, my opponent has to replay Reclaimer. If they miss a land drop, I will very heavily consider Sorcery Speed killing this Elvish Reclaimer. I would like to draw a different answer than Drown to do that, but I would not be opposed. Okay, it looks like they have a land, and they choose Giant. Okay, this is the Primeval Titan deck, of course. I will not mill Mountain. I will draw Mountain. Play the Mountain. It may still be worth drowning here, actually. And the only reason I'm doing this Sorcery Speed is I don't want them to sack out Flagstones, because that gets them so much mana so quickly. I am playing a little bit awkwardly here, but it should pay off in the next turn, theoretically. We'll see if our opponent can do anything that really makes me regret doing it. It does feel kind of bad not being able to mill with Search for Azcanta right now. Okay, Dryad of the Elysian Grove is pretty bad. I will not mill Watery Grave. I will draw Watery Grave. My opponent only had one land to play last turn, which likely means they only have one land to play this turn. So I'm going to shock in Watery Grave, so I have Snapcaster for Drown in the Loch, slash Factor Fiction, slash Activate Field of Ruin. So we'll see what happens. Okay, opponent plays a Sakura Tribe Elder, which I am not particularly intimidated by. Opponent no attacks. Factor Fiction here is really tempting, but I actually want to get rid of that Cavern, and I want to get more cards engraved so we can flip this as Kanta. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Field of Ruin to take out the Cavern. I think my opponent plays 3 basics. I'm not sure that's going to be relevant here, but okay. And I'm actually going to Snapcaster for Thought Scour and Thought Scour myself here. Okay. This lets me potentially just mill with Search and then flip Search. Okay. Opponent plays Eladamri's Call on their own end step, probably to get Primeval Titan. But unless they have a second Cavern, we will have Snapcaster for Drown, potentially. Our opponent would need a couple more cards engraved, but considering that they are going to crack Sakura Tribe Elder and they may activate Windswept Teeth... Oh, they're getting a Springbloom Druid. Interesting. Okay, we draw Force of Negation. We did mill a Frantic Inventory. I think that's the first time I've done that. Yeah, I'll mill a land to transform Search. We draw a second Force of Negation. Alright, pass the turn. Okay, opponent sacks Steve. Gets Plains. Looks like our opponent's playing Springbloom Druid. That's fine. They sack Flagstones. So they're going to get 2 lands here. Or 3 lands here, actually. Opponent's deck is playing more basics than I thought they did. But I guess that's pretty fair considering they play a lot of basic land searching. I don't know why I thought they played so few. Okay, so what we're going to do here is cast Factor Fiction. I could just activate as Kanta, but we're not looking for anything specifically. We're just kind of looking for more options right now. Opponent offers us Snapcaster, Land, and Push. Yeah, I'll take that pile. We can always snap for Drown in the Loch if we want. Okay. Untap. We draw a Swamp. So, Polluted Delta. Crack Polluted Delta. I was going to fetch a Swamp, so it's a little bit unfortunate that I got to do that. If I get Mystic Sanctuary, I could put Factor Fiction on top of my deck. Which would feel pretty sweet, I guess. Yeah, I actually think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put Factor Fiction on top of my deck. And we will push Dryad here. Okay. Go to combat. Offer the trade with the 1/1. Opponent takes it. It's reasonable. Pass the turn. Opponent casts a Tireless Tracker. Yeah, we're going to drown this. Because Tracker is a creature they could use to get a lot of value. If they have a big non-creature ramp spell or scape shift, we can force here. Skyclave Apparition. Okay. They can exile Snappy. So we're going to untap and draw Factor Fiction. Play Swamp. Pass the turn. Okay. When it goes to combat, attacks for 2. No blocks. Take 2, go to 15. They're going to play Dryad. Okay. They play a Wooded Foothill. So, Factor Fiction. Wow. Look at all that power. That feels awesome. You're putting the commands in a pile? Yeah, I was going to say, Cryptic Bolt. I think we take Cryptic here. Frantic Inventory is great, but Koligon's command, we can flashback with Snapcaster, and then like pick up our other Snapcaster. I think we just want the action now. And then we can also activate Search on our opponent's end step. We'll take a Cling to Dust. Rest of the bottom. Untap. The other option was flashing in Brazen Borrower there, which would have been completely reasonable. Alright. Pass the turn, leave up 2 Cryptic commands. That's gotta be good, right? Double Cryptic. When it goes to combat, attacks for 4. You got it. Okay, so Snapcaster Mage. Target Koligon's command. Koligon's command. We're going to return Snapcaster Mage to our hand, make our opponent discard. Opponent discarded an Arboreal Grazer. Then Flash Brazen Borrower. Untap. We draw Lightning Bolt. So go to combat. Attack for 5. We're going to pass the turn, and we're going to discard a Cling to Dust. We have double Cryptic with Force of Negation backup. Okay, opponent attacks for 2. No blocks. Opponent casts a Primeval Titan. Primeval Titan, excuse me. So, counter Primeval Titan, bounce Dryad. Opponent plays a land and is passing. Lightning Bolt. Untap. Draw Kess. And opponent scoops. Well, dang, we did pretty good that time around. Maybe this deck is pretty sweet, and I really just wasn't doing it justice. Sorry for the blurry camera. Not sure what's happening there. Maybe I can get it to refocus on me. Come on, camera. All right. So we want Ashiok's in this matchup to stop our opponent from searching. If we're keeping them in along with Drown in the Loch, we need to be aware of when we're exiling their grave. Cling to Dust is not as important here. They usually don't buy back things from the grave. They might have like a Ramanop Excavator. Let me actually look up a deck list while I've got some time. Recent lists have been running Knight of the Reliquary. They do have Gaddock Teague out of the sideboard, along with some more Hate Bearsy kind of stuff. Okay. We need to cut one card. Do they run? Oh, shoot. Do they run? Oh, of course they run Cavern. What am I saying? I think I cut one Force of Negation. We'll try it like this. Same plan as before. Take it slow, be reasonable, think about what our opponent's doing, keep good hands, not this one. Okay. This hand is actually pretty reasonable. I'm going to put back Snapcaster. So if my opponent starts with the Sacrifice Elf or the Mana Dork, I would bolt it. Shock Steam Vents, pass the turn. It will likely be Thought Scouring ourselves here. If I had black mana, there would be a reasonable consideration for milling my opponent, but I do not. So Thought Scour, target ourselves. We mill Kess and Ashiok. We draw Scalding Tarn, which is black mana. So play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. It's too bad that our opponent will be able to play a fetch land before we play Ashiok. But we can Field of Ruin the bounce land there. Okay, our opponent plays an Eidolon of Rhetoric. Okay. Crack Scalding Tarn. We will get a Watery Grave tapped and Lightning Bolt our opponent. Eidolon of Rhetoric is annoying, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Cryptic's nice. Play Field. Play Ashiok. I am going to mill my opponent. This keeps them at 0 cards in grave. But we can mill toolbox creatures, specific lands, because they run so many. I don't know if this version runs Field of the Dead, but they do run Valakut for sure. So taking out Valakuts potentially limits their endgame. Okay. Opponent plays a Dryad. Wooded Foothills and Vesuva on Field of Ruin. Sure. They attack Ashiok. Down to 3. We untap. We draw Snapcaster Mage. So Eidolon kind of shuts off Snapcaster. Since they can attack and kill Ashiok anyway, we're going to mill them. And we are going to field Selesnya Sanctuary. I want to get a basic island, but I think a... No, I think a basic island is probably the way to go here. We do have Cryptic. I might regret this. We'll see. Pass the turn. We need to get them to the point that they have an actual real number of cards in the graveyard. Which if they attack and kill Ashiok here is fine. Okay. Ashiok down. Opponent plays a Windswept Heath. We untap. Draw Scalding Tarn. Play Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Okay, we'll leave up Cryptic. Okay, opponent plays a Valakut, which will shoot us. Opponent attacks for 3. Okay, we go to 11. Crack Windswept Heath. They can put 2 more lands into play. So I'm going to crack Scalding Tarn. We'll get an island. So I'm thinking about casting Cryptic this turn. And if I repulse the Dryad, I think that gives them another land play, which could kill us. But it would stop the damage from this one. Has our opponent played a land this turn? I think they have. Yeah, they started with Valakut. Alright, we're going to let this resolve. Our opponent might have us dead here. And the problem is we don't have removal that can hit Eidolon right now. Okay, opponent shocks us down to 7. Okay, they crack Wooded Foothills. So now what I'm going to do is repulse Dryad and draw. I think I still might be dead. So my opponent floats red mana. Gets a Temple Garden tapped. 4 mana, boils. Alright. Opponent's running Boil. We now know our opponent is running Boil. So Force of Negation needs to come in, and we need to be very careful when we are casting spells on our own turn. I'll cut the 1 Ashiok. I think I really only want 1. And I don't even really want it necessarily because of Drown in the Loch. Okay. I will keep this. So we'll start Basic Island. Just Thought Scour ourselves. Could do this on my opponent's turn. It's technically correct to do so, but... Okay. Opponent starts Forest. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Castle Garenbrig into an Elvish Reclaimer. I think I am going to get a basic Swamp and just push this Reclaimer now. Okay. Untap, we draw another Fatal Push, which is really good. Play a Mountain, so we have the option of casting any of our spells in basically any combination. Okay. Opponent plays a Tireless Tracker. Okay. Make them discard, kill Tracker. I'm really taking a liking to Koligan's command. I used to actually really not like it, but the kind of things we're making it do in this deck is just insane sometimes. I really, really undervalued it. Okay. Opponent plays a Windswept Heath. So on their end step, let's go ahead and Frantic Inventory. Another Frantic Inventory. Ooh, boy. Okay. Opponent is probably going to hit us with a Boil here. Didn't think about that, actually. Oh, maybe not. Maybe this isn't a Boil. It is an Eladamri's Call. Whew, not a Boil. Boil would have been very bad. My opponent does only have 3 cards left in their hand. Gaddock Teague. Okay. We're holding another Fatal Push, and we drew a bunch of really good cards. And we drew Polluted Delta. So play Polluted Delta, pass the turn. Now we're kind of in the business of not cracking fetch lands until we need them. Okay. Opponent plays a Sacred Foundry, passes the turn. Okay, I kind of want to put the pressure on because my opponent only has 3 cards in hand. Presumably one is Boil if they just fetched for a Sacred Foundry. One of them is Gaddock Teague, which we do know. So we're going to try and leave up counterspells as much as possible while like Bolt, Snap, Bolt hopefully gets there. Okay, we drew another Lightning Bolt. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent boils. So we drown in the lock the Boil. Untaps. Opponent plays a Gaddock Teague. And a Reclaimer. They only have 1 card left in their hand. So Gaddock Teague just says non-creature spells CMC 4 or greater, and non-creature spells with X in their mana cost. Okay. So we're going to fetch here. We will get a Watery Grave. Untapped. We'll cast Snapcaster Mage. Target Lightning Bolt. Okay. Opponent casts Eladamri's Call. That's fine. We can counter whatever they play off of it, especially a Primeval Titan. Lightning Bolt. I was going to bolt their face, but I want to have more mana available next turn, and I want to actually get in with Snapcaster. Untap. We draw Cryptic. Cryptic makes me feel way safer. Push Reclaimer. Get in with Snapcaster. If they cast Primeval Titan by drawing a land, or they don't even have to, they have Castle Garenbrig. We'll just counter it. They would have had to do a top deck to Cavern of Souls. Otherwise. So they activate Castle, cast Prime Time, counter draw, draw Force, untap, draw Watery Grave. I don't know if that lets us hold up more. Technically it lets us cast every spell in our hand, so I'm going to shock it in. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Instead of countering and drawing, I could have actually countered and bounced Snapcaster to get an additional Lightning Bolt, I guess. But let's see what our opponent plays. Nothing. Lightning Bolt our opponent. Untap. We draw Thought Scour. Thought Scour ourself. We draw Logic Knot. We mill Koligan's command and search for Iskanta. Attack for 2. Opponent goes down to 3. Okay, opponent plays a land. We should have enough counter spells to counter anything they can play, so Snapcaster attacking is probably enough. We'll play Creeping Tar Pit just in case they do have removal they can somehow sneak through. Get in for 2. Take our opponent down to 1. Pass. Opponent draws. 6 mana. Cast Prime Time. So we will Logic Knot. Overpaying just a little bit. X4. We only have 1 card left in hand, and even if it was Veil of Summer, we could counter the Veil. Sweet! So that's 2 matches under our belt. I will take another break before playing match 3. See you guys there. Alrighty, round 3. Here we go. We'll play first. Yeah, this actually feels like it might be a pretty good hand depending on what we're playing against. One thing that I said when I was trying to play this deck the first time was that I was frustrated a little bit by the lack of hand hate because there was no proactivity at all. But I'm noticing now that, like, after those first couple of rounds, I really don't need it. Okay. So I think I am just going to snap, or I'm just going to snap off this bolt here. Generally, when you see Arbor Elf, it's Ponza, and they really want to hit 3 mana right away. Yep. I'm really glad that we lightning bolted that and we didn't wait to, like, eliminate. We could have eliminated on their upkeep, and it's not likely they would have something to play. Conclave Mentor. So this is actually the Heliod combo. Okay, we're going to go ahead and Thought Scour ourselves. We draw an island. We mill Frantic Inventory and Cryptic Command. We draw another Thought Scour. Yeah, I'm going to eliminate this now. It's a little awkward being forced to play at sorcery speed, but my opponent can do a lot of nasty things if they happen to untap with that. It's possible I could have just waited. Yeah, okay. Opponent has a Heliod. That's fine. Let that resolve. See if there's anything else. Okay. Thought Scour ourselves. Really hoping to hit a land, and we do. Untap. We draw an island. Play an island. And the reason I'm playing an island over a Scalding Tarn here is because if I Cryptic Command, I don't want to... I'm leaving the ability to fetch up Mystic Sanctuary later. We could counter this and bounce Heliod. I think I'm just going to wait, though. I kind of want to cast Fact or Fiction. If my opponent plays anything else, I will counter that and bounce Heliod. The reason I didn't do that initially is because my opponent could just play a land and then replay Heliod, and yeah, that would take up their turn, but then we wouldn't be able to Fact or Fiction. Alright, counter Scavenging Ooze, bounce Heliod. Untap, draw Scalding Tarn, play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. And now we have Fetch Mystic Sanctuary, put whatever we want on top, cast Cryptic, which is really sweet. Okay. Opponent's going to cast Walking Ballista onto. So, fetch up Mystic Sanctuary. Put Cryptic Command on top of my deck. Then, Cryptic Command, counter draw. Okay. My opponent plays a Temple Garden untapped, meaning they probably have an Eladmary's Call. Eladamri. Never going to get that right. Okay, we draw a Swamp. Play a fetch land, pass the turn. Okay, there's the call. So one of the cards in hand is Heliod, one of them is whatever they tutor for, and then the last card is an unknown. So they have a Scavenging Ooze, sure. Play Scooze. That's fine-ish. It's annoying, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm worried about Heliod. Okay. Opponent untaps their forest. Plays a Giver. Okay. So, Fact or Fiction. No main deck sweepers kind of hurts, but hopefully we get a lot of single target removal here. Kess does sort of fill that role, but Snapcaster's better simply because it's cheaper. Actually, Kess doesn't target. Kess would make them activate Scavenging Ooze before... How much mana would we have? I think we take the pile with Kess. I'm going to fetch with Scalding Tarn. We'll get a Watery Grave, because we're holding a Blood Crypt. Untap. We draw a Snapcaster. Okay. Play a Swamp. So we can Snapcaster for a 1-drop, as well as hold up Cryptic. The Scavenging Ooze is going to be a little bit of a problem. But how our opponent handles what this turn, or the end of this turn, is how determines how we respond. Okay, opponent is going to eat our Cling to Dust. That's fine. See if they tap out. Okay, they do not. They are worried about a Snapcaster. They played that correctly. Okay. Opponent taps for a lot of mana, plays a Conclave Mentor. You got it. Goes to combat. Attacks for 2. That's fine. They eat a Snapcaster. They eat a Conclave Mentor. Can we take 6 here? Can we do anything about it? Probably not. Take the 6. Okay. So, flash in Snapcaster. Our opponent should just eat whatever spell we target. So we're going to target the Lightning Bolt. I was going to say, we need the Eliminate to actually kill Scavenging Ooze. Okay. But now our opponent is out of mana. Bouncing a permanent doesn't really do anything here. We could bounce Mystic Sanctuary, but I don't like that either. I think I played that turn a little inefficiently for what I needed to do, but... Okay. Shock Blood Crypt. Play Kess. We can only cast spells from the grave on our turn. They have to have Heliod and Walking Ballista to kill us, and they've already played one out of the grave. So I think it's fine to just cast Eliminate on Skoos here. No, it's not, because they have Giver of Runes. So we're going to play Kess, and we're going to leave up Cryptic. That's the plan, anyway. I think playing Search for Iskanta was probably better. Do we have to eliminate here? The problem is that Giver of Runes, which we should just be able to overcome through card advantage, I think. I could go completely shields down. My opponent can give Pro Blue to attack through Snapcaster, so I actually have to eliminate Giver of Runes. This feels really bad. Like, super, super bad. But I think short of exactly Walking Ballista, we're fine. Okay, opponent plays Coco. Double Giver, wow. Alright. They go to combat, they attack. Jump with old Snapcaster. Tapping out. Okay, Search for Iskanta finds us a Fatal Push, which we will not put into our graveyard. We want to draw a Fatal Push. We will transform Search, though. So we draw a Fatal Push the threat. Opponent has to eat something other than Fatal Push here, which will then allow us to flashback Fatal Push with Kess to kill Giver. Then we have Cryptic Command to interact with our opponent on their turn. Okay, another Eladamri's call. Ranger Captain of Eos. Eos? Not sure. Another Utopia Sprawl. Opponent chooses white. Casts Ranger Captain. I think we're going to counter-target spell and tap all creatures our opponents control. Actually, we could counter-target spell and repulse that forest. That would still let them get down Heliod, but it would take out a whole bunch of their mana. We gotta counter Ranger Captains. What do we do with the other mode? Bouncing Mystic Sanctuary is tempting. I'm gonna counter and tap. Okay, opponent untaps mana. Gives Conclave Mentor protection from black. Then they can cast the last card in their hand, which is Heliod. Okay. Now we untap. We draw Snapcaster Mage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We have 2 Frantic Inventories in the grave, a Cryptic Command, a Factor Fiction. Factor Fiction is like potentially highest upside, I think, because we get a 1 mana removal spell. We can then cast it, Snapcaster it, and cast it again. So let's go Fact or Fiction here. Main phase. Kolaghan's Command's kind of nice. We can stop on our opponent's draw step and make them discard while killing something. I don't care about the other cards, really. Take Kolaghan's Command. So on my opponent's draw step, we can kill Giver of Runes and make them discard. We do have to keep Kess back. Stop on their draw step. Target player discards a card. Target Giver. Okay. Opponent gives Conclave Mentor protection from black. Opponent discards a forest. If we were really worried about this Conclave Mentor, we could flash Snapcaster into block. But we're not doing that. Opponent can lifelink up this Conclave Mentor and put 2 counters on something. Which does make this a little harder to kill, but it's fine. We untap, draw Fatal Push, and this game is over. So, Fatal Push the Elf, Fatal Push the Mentor. Opponent gains life. You can put a counter on Heliod or Utopia Sprawl if they want. Okay, go to combat. Attack for 3. Stop on my opponent's draw step. Snapcaster Mage for Kolaghan's Command. Kolaghan's Command, pick up Snapcaster, make our opponent discard. Black, red, any color. Opponent discards a Wooded Foothills and has nothing they can do for the turn. We untap. We draw Kolaghan's Command. Alright, cast Frantic Inventory, draw 2 cards. Play a land. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Opponent goes to 20. Pass the turn. Stop on their draw step. Target opponent discards 2 damage to our opponent. And the game is over. Oh, man. Well, that was unnecessarily brutal. All right, engineered explosives in. Cling to Dust might be relevant because I think they have like Renegade Rallier and stuff like that. I know they have a way to buy back stuff from the grave. I just don't remember what it is. So that's why I'm not cutting Cling to Dust for engineered explosives for anyone who didn't follow my logic there. I just realized I was like, I'm talking gibberish. I think I cut a Force of Negation for engineered explosives. Force of Negation basically only good for countering Collected Company, as far as I know. Brutality actually seems really good here. Killing a dork and then taking out your opponent's Collected Company seem good. And I don't know what to cut for Collected Brutality. Maybe a Logic Knot? Okay. Try like this. Okay, this hand seems really good against what our opponent's doing, so I'm going to keep. Okay, opponent starts tap land. We will start Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills, cracks it. Gets another Temple Garden into an Auriok Champion. Well, that is annoying. But luckily we do have engineered explosives. Let's get a Steam Vents tapped. Untap. Draw Mystic Sanctuary. We could also just flash Snapcaster to block that. I'm shocking Watery Grave this turn regardless. Let's see what our opponent plays. Windswept Teeth. They crack it. Find a forest. Ranger Captain of Eos. Okay. Opponent gains 1 life. They get to tutor up a 1-drop, which is probably Giver of Runes. Walking Ballista. Okay. They go to combat. They don't do anything. So it's either Frantic Inventory or Lightning Bolt Ranger Captain. And I think it's Frantic Inventory. Draw Kolagon's Command. Untap. Draw Drown in the lock. Really wish we had an untapped blue source here. If we did, this would be a no-brainer. It would be Bolt Ranger Captain, hold up Drown. But because we can't do that, I think what we do is play Field. Play Explosives on 0. Bolt Ranger Captain. Okay. That's fine. We accomplished what we were trying to accomplish. So what this does is it makes it a little hard for them to combo. I don't think they can combo next turn because I think the minimum amount of mana is like 5. And that's with a Walking Ballista that already has a counter on it somehow. Okay, opponent plays a Conclave Mentor. Gains a life. Plays a Forest. Walking Ballista X1, which is actually X2. Gains a life. Goes to combat. Attacks for 1. I think it's best to just crack explosives here. So we'll take 1. We can't flash in Snappy to block, because Walking Ballista would just immediately kill Snapcaster. I sort of regret not putting engineered explosives on 2, and that may have been a play mistake. Kill Ballista. Okay, opponent pings us twice. We untap. Draw another Snapcaster. So play Mystic Sanctuary tapped. Pass the turn. They have 3 cards in hand, but we don't know what they're holding. Play a Gavany Township. We're just going to activate Gavany. So make them discard 2 damage to Mentor. That Auriok Champion is going to be a problem, though. And I think this is the last turn that we can do anything about it. We untap and we draw Kolagon's Command. Pass the turn. So if my opponent activates Gavany again, I think I have to flash in 2 Snapcasters and double block that champion, which would be really funny and horrible at the same time. I am going to counter this with Drown in the lock. Okay, opponent has Veil of Summer. Okay, that's fine. It does suck quite a bit. Okay, opponent gains 1. They can tutor up a 1-drop. They probably get Arbor Elf here. Okay, they get another Walking Ballista. How do they always have mana to play Walking Ballista? Okay, well if they attack, we're still flashing a Snapcaster, because our opponent would have to give up Walking Ballista to protect this Auriok champion. Doesn't matter what we target, we can't cast anything. Okay, opponent kills Snapcaster. We would like to draw a land, I think. Opponent does only have one card in hand. We untap. We draw Eliminate. So what I'm going to do is eliminate... Am I going to eliminate? I think I field Gavany. And we'll get a basic swamp. But the plan right now is to just flash Snapcaster to try and stop Auriok Champion. Oh, man. We just had to stop it from getting any bigger. We don't have any edicts. I already used engineered explosives, which may have been a huge mistake. Okay. Opponent plays Heliod. Oh, I hate it! Because now that Auriok Champion is going to get too big to ever deal with. Which means I have to flash in Snapcaster now. Target something. That's just to prevent them from making it a 3-3 in response and completely shutting it off. Oh, never mind. It just does that anyway. Okay. Opponent attacks us for 6. Gives Auriok Champion lifelink. And I think we lost. It's like the only way we get out of this is like Cryptic tap constantly. But it makes their guys bigger. We untap. We draw Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Eliminate Ranger Captain, because that prevents us from dying next turn, though we probably die the turn after. Stop on our opponent's draw step. Fetch up a basic island. Kolaghan's Command. Pick up a Snapcaster, make our opponent discard. Oh no, the nightmare scenario. They hit Collected Company. Alright. Yep, you got us. Okay, game 3. How do we want to be set up for game 3? Do we have a way to deal with that Auriok Champion? I guess logic not. I don't know how scared of it I should be. We also have Brazen Borrower, which is something I need to remember. We can bounce it with Brazen Borrower. I'm going to cut Brutality and bring Logic Knot back in. Being on the play helps. I've got to play fast because I do not have a lot of time on my clock. And that might be a big problem. I will keep. Used 6 more minutes of time than my opponent. I can't believe it. I think I got distracted and forgot that that was an important thing. Play Creeping Tar Pit tapped, pass the turn. Okay. We draw Cling to Dust. Play a Blood Crypt untapped. This is going to give us the most amount of options for what we can do on our opponent's turn. Okay, opponent plays a Windswept Teeth, cracks Windswept Teeth. For a Scavenging Ooze. Okay, we will Thought Scour ourselves here. Draw a Lightning Bolt. Okay. Bolt Ooze. Untap. Draw a Creeping Tar Pit, play Tar Pit. Pass the turn. Opponent's turn. They play a Horizon Canopy into an Auriok Champion, which we will counter. I don't want to set up a big, long Engineered Explosive setup for this, unless I have to, which I do. So opponent uses a Veil to protect Champion. We draw Kolaghan's Command. I'm going to Cling to Dust. Actually, I'm going to Cling to Dust to the Fetch land to draw a card here. We get an island, which is good. Play Explosives. Blue. Red. Okay. Pass the turn. If my opponent has removal for Engineered Explosives, that's probably just going to be bad beats. Opponent fetches and shocks a Temple Garden into a main phase Collected Company. Gotta hope they don't hit like Night of Autumn, I guess. Okay, second Auriok Champion. And that's it. When it gets in for 1, we take 1, untap, we draw Thought Scour. I'm just going to crack Explosives now. Waiting is technically correct, but I am low on time, and I want to minimize the amount of times I got to click for anything or think about stuff, if possible. Okay, opponent has a 5th land, plays a Scooze, and they're passing. So we eliminate here. on our opponent's end step when they give us priority. Moto. Now's the time when the lag's getting really bad for us. Okay, opponent eats Cling to Dust, that's fine. Eats Cryptic, that's fine. Eats Drown, that's fine. Kill Ooze. Untap. We draw Steam Vents, which I'm going to play untapped, and pass the turn. So if my opponent plays nothing, I'm going to Thought Scour myself, then Frantic Inventory. If they play something that dies to Kolagon's command, I'm probably going to kill it and make them discard. Opponent plays another Horizon Canopy. This also lets me Frantic Inventory if I want to. Okay, make them discard, 2 damage to Mentor. Oops, I need red mana, actually. Okay. Opponent Coco's in response. Yep, nothing I can do about that. Hope they can't make Mentor bigger. They get a Giver of Runes and nothing else. So we're going to Frantic Inventory. Draw a card. It's a Thought Scour. Kill Mentor, get rid of Spike Feeder. That makes me feel better about myself. We untap. We draw Mystic Sanctuary. Mystic Sanctuary tapped because I don't have enough islands, and I'm slightly bad at this game. And we're going to have to start attacking right now if we want to win. Oops. Shoot. Come on, Moto, please. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to 11. Opponent untaps. They play a big Walking Ballista. We Thought Scour ourself. We draw Watery Grave. Opponent gets a Ballista. We untap. We Thought Scour ourself. We draw Lightning Bolt. Put a Cling to Dust in the grave. And we draw a Kess. So, Bolt Giver. We do not have a Fatal Push in the grave. So if my opponent gives Ballista Pro Red here, we're kind of out of luck. Pro Black, okay. Shock Watery Grave. Oh, shoot. They can kill Kess if we play her. But I don't really have a choice here. I miscounted my red mana. Alright, play this. And I'm going to Thought Scour my opponent. We draw Frantic Inventory, pass the turn. I think my opponent has to basically shoot down Kess this turn. If they top deck Heliod, they win. Okay, they play an Auriok Champion. They put a counter on Walking Ballista. They go to combat. They hit us for 4. Yeah, that's fine, no blocks. But if they don't kill Kess, they lose. I'm fairly certain. Yep. Just gonna do this now. They do kill Kess. We untap. We draw a Fatal Push. We can activate 1 Creeping Tar Pit. So first, let's take inventory. We do get a Brazen Borrower. Okay, that helps. Pass the turn. Gotta play really quick here. Okay, opponent cracks Canopy to draw a card. Cracks Canopy to draw a card. Goes to combat. Yeet Auriok Champion. Blue, blue. They can't recast it. Or if they can, we can drown in the locket. Sweet. Opponent scoops the match. That's 3 matches. Alright. I've already done this deck better justice than I did before. So, with that, I'm going to take a break. I gotta go get my flu shot. And then I will come back. And we will play round 4. Alrighty, welcome back to round 4. Went, got my flu shot. Didn't even feel it. We're against a Yorion deck. I see 80 cards in his deck size. Went and got my flu shot, took the dog for a walk, and it's cold outside. Didn't feel a thing, by the way. Highly recommend you get your flu shot, especially with all the crazy pandemic stuff that's happening outside. So, don't want to catch both, let me say that. Alright. If I had a single cantrip, I'd probably keep this. It still might even be keepable on the draw with how many lands we run, but I really don't want to risk it. This is so much better. I'm going to keep this, and I either put back Cryptic or I put back Tar Pit. I think I put back Cryptic. Tar Pit may have been the actual choice there, but I really, really do not want to not draw lands this game. Alright, Aether Vial deck. I'll play Creeping Tar Pit past the turn. I really hope this is not... Why would they be running Aether Vial? Is it like Yorian taxes? I mean, they're gonna be real sad when they find out, Oof. You know, I'm gonna just fetch up a basic island right now. I don't want to get arbitered or something like that. My opponent has 6 non-land cards in hand as well. They vial in a Giver of Runes, which I will push immediately. Pass the turn. This might be Yorian taxes. So, Thought Scour ourself. Okay. Untap. Draw Fatal Push. Shock Steam Vents. Go ahead and pass to our end step. Okay. Since this might be Thalia, I'm going to make my opponent discard and destroy that. I really can't risk that being Thalia. Stoneforge Mystic. I wouldn't be too scared of a Batterskull, even if they can put it into play this turn. Okay. We untap, we draw Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. We do not have 3 islands for Mystic Sanctuary, and I need to not make that mistake again. But we can push... Okay. Opponent is going to put Batterskull into play. Animates it. I think I'm going to push Stoneforge here. Now I'm going to pass. I want to be able to Snapcaster Kolaghan's Command, and taking 1 hit of 4 damage while it... Oh, crap. Now they have mana to pick up Batterskull. Well, we'll take 1 hit of 4 damage. See if they gotta start using their mana for other stuff, I think. Confounding Conundrum. Seems like a fun taxes kind of card. We'll play... We'll just get a Swamp. Going to Cling to Dust their Aether... I didn't even see we milled one. Or they milled one. Draw a card. Draw a card. Okay. Then they pass. We draw a Cryptic Command. Play a Scalding Tarn. If I crack Scalding Tarn, I have to bounce a land. I think that's fine, just to try and guarantee the Batterskull destruction now. Okay, Snapcaster Mage. Target Kolaghan's Command. Kolaghan's Command, target player discards a card, destroy target artifact. I could have done this on my opponent's turn, I just didn't want them to have mana up to pick up Batterskull. Because it's a type of card that's very difficult to answer. I'll pick up the Mountain. They should still have approximately 4 non-land cards in hand. I'm not sure what they can do. Let's see, Deputy of Detention is what they discarded to our Kolaghan's Command. So yeah, they seem to be just like blue-white Death and Taxes Yorian. They must be doing well, because they are in the 3-0 bracket, I assume. Opponent plays a Glasspool Mimic tapped, and a Flicker Wisp, so they're going to flicker the Glasspool Mimic. Ooh, this one's good. So they get a Glasspool Mimic on Flicker Wisp, which they can then flicker Confounded Conundrum with. I thought they'd flicker a land of ours, honestly. Play Steam Vents tapped. Go to combat. And we're going to offer to trade the Snapcaster. They shouldn't block here, but never know. Okay, pass the turn. They get it back, they draw a card. They untap. Draw a card. When it goes to combat, we're going to let them attack this turn. They hit us for 6, we go to 5. Selfless Savior. Okay. They play a land. They draw Yorion. Okay. So at their end step, let's get rid of Stoneforge Mystic. Gain some... Do I need to gain life, or do I need to draw a card? I think I need to gain life, but I also need to draw a card. I need to do both. Alright, we're going to Cling to Dust Mystic. Get rid of the lands that we don't need, and a Thought Scour. Gain 3, go up to 8. Untap. We draw a Field of Ruin. 1 second. Okay, that's been handled. Hope I didn't waste too much time. We'll play a Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. So what we're going to try and set up for here is we're going to crack Scalding Tarn, getting our Mystic Sanctuary, putting Fatal Push on top, and then we are going to Cryptic something, and then we're going to Cryptic do something, and then Fatal Push something else, I think is the plan. So let's see what our opponent does. Okay, they go to combat. They attack. 4/6. Okay, no blocks, go down to 2. They shock a Hollowed Fountain. They're going to play Thalia. Okay, so fetch with Scalding Tarn. Get Mystic Sanctuary. Fatal Push on top. Counter target spell and draw. Oh, I should have counter target spell and picked up Snapcaster. So now we have to Fatal Push a creature that they're just going to make indestructible, but we're still going to do it. Alright, I may not have thought this one all the way through. Yep. We untap, we draw Cling to Dust. So we can get up to 7 life, play Field, Cling to Dust, eat Thalia, Cling to Dust, eat Deputy. Oh, hang on. I got a plan. Field. Get an island. Pick up Mystic Sanctuary. Cling to Dust. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I guess Snapcaster. Okay, now we don't die to our opponent attacking. Unless they have something with Flash. Which they did not, thankfully. Okay, never mind, we die to them all to the Skyclaves. I should have picked up Snapcaster. So that was a punt that lost me the game. Okay. So versus blue-white Stoneblade taxes Yorion, I think I want Ashiok. But other than that, I think we should be fine. Maybe we want Collective Brutality? I don't think we need it. Logic Knot. I'm going to bring in 1 Ashiok over... Oof, you know, I don't know. Oh, I should bring in Anger. I'll bring in Anger and an Ashiok over a Force of Negation. Actually, I'll just bring in Anger, drop a Force of Negation, and drop, I guess, a Logic Knot. I don't know if that's correct or not, but we're going to try this. This might also be a matchup where I want Young Pyro. I'm not sure. Hard to tell with a Yorion deck. It seems like they should be relatively inconsistent. But like they're playing blue and white and they're playing dudes and Stoneforge and that sort of thing. So sideboarding around a particular card seems bad, but like sideboarding against the strategy in general is good. So Anger of the Gods seems good against small dudes and small flyers. And yeah, so we're going to try that. I will be keeping this hand. I think this hand is excellent. We can just fetch up a Watery Grave and mill ourselves, then play Steam Vents and have even more cantrips, and it just seems like it's going to be a good time. Okay. So start Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Opponent starts Plains and Vial. Okay. Fetch up a Watery Grave, and we'll go ahead and mill ourselves. Okay. Draw Cryptic Command. Shock Steam Vents. Pass the turn. I do want to cast both Cling and Thought Scour this turn, because I really want to hit a 3rd land to make sure I can command and get rid of that Vial, especially if my opponent kept another 1-lander. It's not super likely, but it is possible. Okay, Rest in Peace really sucks. So we're going to Thought Scour our opponent. Make sure we're tapping the right mana for that. Double Arbiter. Guess we probably won't have to worry about Arbiter. And I can either gain life or draw a card. And I think at this point, I'm just going to draw a card. Because at no other point will Cling be good. Okay. That's a Rest in Peace. Opponent only has 3 cards left in hand, which means this Kolaghan's Command should do some work. We don't have any counterspells, and Snapcaster is going to be pretty useless. So I think I'm just going to main phase this. Like, worst case scenario, our opponent has an Arbiter in their hand and has another land. But then they're just out of cards. Like, and we still have a boatload of answers and things. They've succeeded into turning our Snapcasters into Ambush Vipers and our Frantic Inventories into Think Twices. Which really are not bad cards, so. We'll see what they discard. No 1-drops to Violin, which is good. Flicker Wisp. Okay. Opponent plays a Horizon Canopy. And a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Pass the turn. See what our opponent does. They go to combat, they attack for 2. That's fine. Pay 1. Just tap all... Oh, they put Yorion in their hand, that's what it was. I was like, what on earth are they doing? Bolt Thalia. Untap. Would like a land here. Perfect, found it. Pass the turn. Now we have Cryptic. We don't have any of our insane late-game value generation, though, which does suck. If they just play Yorion as, like, a beater here, we could counter it and, like, bounce Rest in Peace, I guess. Okay. Let's, I think I'm just going to flash in a Snapcaster. Just to get a clock on the board. I could throw my other one down, too. Or I could draw a card. Yeah, I'm just going to flash in my other Snapcaster here. To try and win with beats and quickly. We draw Kolaghan's Command, which is good. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Opponent has a path, that's fine. We'll get a mountain. And our opponent down to 17. Pass the turn. Opponent draws a card, and it's a Thalia. Okay. No big deal. I think we just make them discard and shock Thalia. Keep the lane clear for Snapcaster here. Opponent discards Yorion. They have given up on the flyer. We untap, we draw another Snapcaster, aka Ambush Viper. Get in for 2. And we'll pass the turn. Leonin Arbiter. Yeah, I don't think that's Cryptic worthy. And a Thalia. Okay, well, let's counter draw. Draw another Lightning Bolt. I mean, we just bolt the cat, right? I think we have to. Okay. Untap. Draw Fatal Push. Go to combat. Attack with Snapcaster. Wish we had those bolts to throw at our opponent's face. But we had to use them for removal. Opponent plays an Archon of Emeria. Players can't cast more than 1 spell a turn. Non-basic lands enter the battlefield tapped. So this necessitates that we use Bolt. Because unless we wait 2 turns for a fetch land to untap, we can't actually kill it. Frantic Inventory, let's draw. Flash in a Snapcaster to accelerate the beatdown. Can we draw a Thought Scour? Which I'm just going to target my opponent with. Play Scalding Tarn, so we have an active Fatal Push here. Attack my opponent for 4, they go to 8. They crack Horizon Canopy and draw. They play a tap land. And they pass. We're going to leave this Scalding Tarn so that we have a little bit of reach with this Fatal Push. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Opponent has 1 card in hand, they go to 4. They play a Giver of Runes. And a Glass Pool Mimic as a land? So, push wins? We draw Anger. Cool. Okay, knowing what we know now, do we change our board at all? So my opponent has Rest in Pieces, and that's not the only grave hate they have either, I don't think. Can we do anything to rely on the grave a little bit less? Drown in the Loch, I'm kind of worried about. I'm going to drop a Cling to Dust for this Collective Brutality. Not that I want to be discarding extra cards, but I'm glad we don't have Logic Knot. I think it would be too expensive as a counterspell without the graveyard. Especially when they're running Aether Vial. We could bring in Kalitas. He's probably not bad versus their deck. And we have to get up in mana cost to, like, play him, but it seems risky, but, like, I think I gotta drop a Drown for him. Oh, I don't know. I don't like that. We'll try it. Game 3, we will be on the draw, which is a significant disadvantage versus our opponent's deck. We have double Anger, but no double red source. We do have a Thought Scour I'm going to keep. I gotta play kinda fast, because I am 4 minutes ahead on the clock. When it starts, Seachrome Coast, Giver of Runes. Okay, we draw a Lightning Bolt. I clicked Mystic Sanctuary when I meant to click Blood Crypt. Okay. Opponent plays a Stoneforge Mystic. They get a Batterskull. So, yeah. This is kind of a big problem. Bolt Giver, because we have to. Thought Scour ourself. We draw Kolaghan's Command, which is exactly what we wanted to draw. Holy crap. Whew. Okay, opponent gets another Giver of Runes. We need a red mana. Okay. Play an island, and we have to Snapcaster Lightning Bolt to kill Giver. We can't have our opponent have the ability to protect their batter. Well, they could protect their creature, but they can't protect the artifact portion of it. Opponent plays an Addercar Wastes. Attacks. Honestly, I'm going to trade with Stoneforge. If they have a Restoration Angel, we are going to get some bad beats. Opponent plays a Luris and replays a Giver of Runes. Okay, we need red or black mana untapped right now. Alright, we're going to have a really bad time. TM, trademark, all rights reserved. And all because I played a stupid Mystic Sanctuary instead of a freaking anything else due to a misclick. That is horrible. Okay, opponent gets a Sword of Fire and Ice. Alright, that's really concerning. If we can top deck red mana and Anger, they can save one creature that isn't Batterskull. Okay, opponent hits us for half our life total. Plays a Field and plays Sword. I'm pretty sure that means we're dead no matter what. So Steam Vents, we can shock ourselves down to 5. K command. We can destroy Batterskull and shock Giver. But we can't do anything else, and our opponent kills us. Oh no! Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, the only way that we possibly survive is if we had somehow been able to Kolaghan's Command Batterskull and shoot Luris. Yeah, but there's no way my opponent just like F6s through our turn or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you missequence your lands, you'll lose the match. I'm sorry, everybody. I was doing so good up until that point, and then I just misclicked because I wasn't careful about where I was clicking because I was under pressure from the clock. So, oh well. I'll see you guys in round 5. Hopefully we can get round 5. I really, really think we could have won that game too, but sometimes that's how it goes. All right, round 5. I'm not gonna take a break here because I'm ready to just finish this. I'm also not on tilt currently, so. Okay, we lost the die roll. We are on the draw. This is an amazing opening hand for this deck, so I am going to keep. Okay. See what our opponent does turn 1. They start Sheltered Thicket, so this is the green-white Titan deck. Draw another Frantic Inventory. Start Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. If we have to fetch Steam Vents to bolt something here, that's totally okay. Okay, opponent plays a Flagstones of Trocaire into a Soccer Tribe Elder. Okay, nothing we can do about that, so let's just get a... yeah, Steam Vent's tapped. Okay. We untap. Draw and eliminate. Shock Watery Grave. I really want to represent double blue to make my opponent think maybe I've got Logic Knot. It also gives us the option of eliminate if our opponent plays something like Dryad that we really, really need to kill. Okay. Opponent plays a Forest. Goes to combat. Attacks us for 1. We go to 16. They do play a Dryad. And they don't have an additional land. So, terminate Dryad with Extreme Prejudice. Untap. Draw Field of Ruin. Play a Mountain. Pass the turn. Field may have been the correct play there, because it would have let us get potentially gotten a third blue source for Cryptic Command. But our opponent seems to be stuck on lands, and they're not cracking Soccer Tribe Elder because they want to draw lands. Blast Zone for our opponent, okay? Well, let's take a Frantic Inventory. Draw Tar Pit. Untap. Draw Brazen Borrower. Makes me feel slightly better about my chances. I'm going to play Tar Pit this turn and pass. I'd really like to cast the other Frantic Inventory this turn. Okay, opponent does crack this turn, which means they almost certainly have the Titan, or they're trying to bank on drawing a land for the Titan. If they resolve it, we're probably going to have a bad time. Okay, opponent plays a Dryad, goes to combat, and passes. So take inventory, draw some cards, untap, we draw Scalding Tarn, play Scalding Tarn, and I'm actually going to restart the client, which is something I should have done in between rounds. Okay, so now we're going to pass, and the plan here is to just Cryptic Command. I'm going to leave that Scalding Tarn uncracked if possible, because we don't have 3 islands for Mystic Sanctuary, like I had hoped. If my opponent casts Titan, we're countering it, of course. Okay, they attack us for 2, we'll take 2. Opponent plays a Field of the Dead. They have a Skyclave Apparition with no value. Well, I'm not scared of that. 3 mana 2/2 does not strike me as frightening. So I'm gonna Bolt Skyclave Apparition. I guess I could just get an island here. They're gonna path their own Skyclave Apparition. They have 6 different lands. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get an island. And this wasn't my original plan, but we're going to counter target spell and bounce their Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Okay. So we untap. Play Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin, Field of the Dead. Get an island. Then pass turn, leaving up Cryptic Command. Whew! Alright. I believe we navigated that as expertly as possible. So opponent replays Dryad. Plays a Plains. So we can either Snapcaster, Eliminate, or we can cast Factor Fiction. And honestly, I want to cast Factor Fiction. Snapcaster Eliminate does let us get the clock started. Ooh, Kess! Kess is great. So is Kolaghan's Command. Man, if only we had 8 mana instead of 7. We could command, snap, command, and then they wouldn't have anything in hand. Whew. I think I want whatever pile commands in, though, because we're holding a Cryptic already. Are you really going to give me Kess versus the world? Okay. Whew. Yeah, I'll take the pile with commands. That's still really good. In tap, we draw Snapcaster. Play a Swamp. Pass the turn. Kind of sad to dump Kess there, because I feel like she would have been really good, but... Okay. Opponent's going to go to combat, that's fine. Hits us for 2. Sure. Ramanop Excavator. I consider that to be illegal. So we're going to counter Ramanop Excavator. We draw Polluted Delta. So we are going to pick up Kess, make our opponent discard. Red, black, black. We discard Skyclave Apparition. We untap. We draw Cling to Dust. Play Field of Ruin. And pass the turn. We have all of the options in the world right now. Opponent attacks, that's fine. We'll take 2. Primeval Titan. That is also illegal. Ooh, there's Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, Snapcaster. Go ahead and get ourselves an Eliminate. And eliminate Dryad. Alright, untap. Draw Logic Knot. Mystic Sanctuary. Put Cryptic on top of our deck. Play Kess. And we're not going to cast anything out of our grave this turn. We're going to attack for 2. We're going to leave up Snapcaster Command / Logic Knot. See what our opponent top decks. Opponent was going to cast something pre-combat main and has since changed their mind. Well, on their end step. Snapcaster Mage. Alright, game's over. Well, we did pretty good there. I think I want Ashiok. And... I mean, Ashiok actually makes their Skyclaves hit something. Maybe I don't want Ashiok. Like, it seems nice. I don't remember how I sideboarded in Game 1. Let me check the footage. So I brought in Ashiok over the Cling to Dusts, I think. My opponent is playing Ramanop Excavator this time around, and it's in the main deck. I think there's an argument for an Ashiok over a Force of Negation. We'll try it like that. I'm going to mulligan that, because there's too many lands. Maybe I should have kept it. This seems a lot better. I'm going to keep... Going to put back Cling to Dust and Cryptic. It's still a little sketchy. Okay, opponent starts Flagstones. That might mean they have multiple Flagstones. So we're going to play Polluted Delta and pass. Sanctuary. Well, Sanctuary makes a pretty decent Field of Ruin target. So, crack Delta, we're going to get a Watery Grave tapped. Wish I had a Thought Scour for my opponent here, but I don't. Play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. It is unlikely that they will get multiple cards in grave for Drown to be good here. They play Dryad. And they play a Plains. And they play an Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, well we've got to kill the Reclaimer and we need red mana to do it. So fetch up a Steam Vents. Lightning Bolt Reclaimer. Untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Play Field. We could Field Sanctuary now to take them down 1 whole mana. Actually, kind of feel like that's worth it. We can only Drown in the Loch something that's 1 mana, and our opponent has no reason to crack a fetch land even. So, I'm going to Field, and I'm going to get a Mountain, and I'm going to leave up Bolt. I feel like 3 mana and 4 mana are significantly different for our opponent here. Or if they're holding multiple lands, 4 mana and 5 mana. Opponent attacks us for 2. Sure. And then they play a Reclaimer, turn off auto yields. Whew, and a Gaddock Teague. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna Bolt Teague. Untap. Draw an island. I think our best bet is to make my opponent discard and kill Reclaimer here. Because we still really can't drown any of the scary things they can play. This also prevents them from ramping. They drop Gaia's Blessing. Like, we were going to mill them. Maybe they're just playing that for the mill matchup, and they thought it was better than Skyclave Apparition. Because I think 2-mana Cantrip is probably better than a 3-mana Bear that does nothing in the majority of cases. Okay. I'd like to draw a Snapcaster. Creeping Tar Pit is fine. Pass the turn. I don't want to use Drown in the Lock on the 2/4. That'll put 6 cards in their grave. I should be able to counter anything they play with that, including up to and including Primeval Titan. So I'm going to let this resolve. I might really regret it, but I think I should counter what they tutor for. Because if they're tutoring for what they consider a silver bullet, if it's something they only have one of, it's better to counter the thing rather than the tutor. Tireless Tracker. Okay. I will counter a Tireless Tracker. That much is for certain. Okay, opponent's going to go to combat and attack first. Yep, we'll take 2. Really hoping they don't have Veil of Summer. Yeah, they don't. Play a Windswept Teeth. Whew! I'm glad we countered that tracker. Hey, another Drown in the Lock. Play an island. I could animate Tar Pit, but I can't race from this position currently. Okay. Opponent goes to combat and attacks for 2. I think we have to hold out and not kill that until we draw better removal for it, if possible. Opponent bogs us. That's fine. If I were my opponent and I read Drown in the Lock, I might even bog myself. We untap. Draw Search for Iskanta. Play Search for Iskanta. That should hopefully help us get to where we need to go. We still can't drown this because it's not an immediate threat to our existence. Yep. We are absolutely going to drown that in the lock, though. They always seem to have one, and I'm really glad we saved that answer for it. So opponent attacks us for 2. We go from 8 to 6. Untap. Upkeep. Search for Iskanta finds us a Scalding Tarn, which we will mill. We draw a Snappy. Okay. Snappy is good. Pass the turn. When it goes to combat, hits us for 2. That's fine. They play a Blast Zone. Okay. Well, on their end step, Snapcaster Drown in the Lock. Drown Dryad. Untap. Search for Iskanta. Finds us a Logic Knot, which I will not mill. Honestly, counter it unless you pay 5 is enough to answer a Titan, so... Attack for 2. Enter opponent to 18. Opponent will likely tick up Blast Zone to 2, because they can take out both Search for Iskanta and Snapcaster now, which is unfortunate. But I mean, what can you do? I actually would kind of prefer it if they played a Titan here. Alright, they take out our board. They play a land. We untap. Draw Steam Vents. Play Steam Vents tapped. Pass the turn. I don't remember if I won game 1 or not right now. I don't know if there's going to be a game 3. Alright, we untap. I should be attacking with Tar Pit here because my opponent is only top decking lands now. This is only mildly bad if they have a path. Like, we could still go get our swamp provided we didn't mill it some way. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3. Take them down to 15. 5 more attacks. Okay, opponent is holding on to a card. They play a Sacred Foundry untapped. Okay, well, we do have to worry about Boil now. It only counter unless they pay 5. So I'm actually going to stop attacking, unless I can put more cards in the grave. Oh my god, if they had cast that on our turn, we couldn't have done anything about it. Actually, hang on. Crack Polluted Delta. Gonna get a swamp. I want to leave Snapcaster in the grave. X is currently 3, 4, 5, 6. Counterboil. We draw. Frantic Inventory. We draw. Scalding Tarn. Play Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Gotta hope our opponent doesn't have anything horrible for us. Oh no! Oh no! What an amazing top deck! Oh, Primeval Titan. And the mana to cast it. Pretty sure that means we're dead. Because they just go get Field of the Dead in, like, any other land. And we can't possibly answer the land of the zombies. Yep, double Field of the Dead. And I don't have Anger of the Gods. And I definitely don't have the resources to answer all of that. Nope. Okay. Oh, we won game 1, that's right. Game 3. Yeah, I don't think I make any adjustments. I think I just run it back. Alright, I would love to play first. I think this hand is totally fine. We'll keep. Triple Cryptic is good. We just got to get to the lands to play it. Okay. Play an island. Thought Scour ourselves. Pass the turn. Okay, we milled 2 not land cards, so we succeeded. Gonna play a Castle Garenbrig. We draw. Kess, so play Snapcaster tapped. Or not Snapcaster, Steam Vents, excuse me. They both start with S. There's a lot of blue on the cards. Just cut me some slack. Gonna play a Reclaimer. I was gonna say, and no second land? What? We draw Watery Grave, which is an amazing top deck. So Snapcaster Mage, target Lightning Bolt, kill Reclaimer. Because I do not want my opponent to untap with that in any universe. Like, if we just keep stuff off the table for a turn and we draw any untapped land next turn, we are good to go. Like, Cryptic, hold up Factor Fiction? That is the control player's dream. So the worst thing for us would be Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Okay, Spring Bloom Druid is not terrible. They sack Valakut. Alright. They get a Plains and a Forest. Untapped land, please. Alright, we got a Drown in the lock. Pass the turn. I could have attacked to try and, like, ghetto power up the Drown there. Opponent plays a Field of the Dead, an Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. I am actually going to drown this. I don't want them tutoring out whatever lands they want. Oh, thank God. Perfect. We have achieved what we have come here to achieve, which was get to 4 mana on turn 5, so we have Cryptic / Factor Fiction. No! Not now. Not like this. Why? Why must you show up now, Cavern of Souls? Oh, we were so close. 1, 2, 5, 6. If I bounce Field of the Dead, they just, like, get Field of the Dead, right? Is there anything I can do about this? At all? That sucks so much. I don't think I bounce Field of the Dead. I actually think I cast Factor Fiction here. There might be a way to navigate this. It is possible. It is not probable. It is not likely. But I think the best way for us to win is to constantly tap their board with a million Cryptics. And to do that, we need to draw a lot of cards right now. If you control 7 or more lands with different names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. We can't even, like, repulse a land to prevent them from getting the zombies. Which would have been cool. They pick up Cavern. Alright. Yeah, we need to hit, like, lands and bolts and somehow race them down. Factor Fiction. See how they split. Lands and spells? Lands and spells is fair. We're going to keep the lands, because we need them. Untap. Draw a mountain. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. No attacks. Okay, opponent untaps. Draws. So tap all their guys and draw. We draw Field of Ruin. They play Dryad. They still name Giant. They get a bunch of tokens. Is there a loop we can do with Cryptics and... Are they playing another Primeval Titan? Holy crap. I mean, there might be. We might be able to infinitely tap all of their guys. I mean, if there was ever a hand that could do it, it's the hand with a million Cryptics and lands. Nope, they have Valakut. And they're gonna bog us. Not that I think that matters. Okay, hang on. Can I have priority magic? Thank you. So, fetch Polluted Delta. Let's get a Mystic Sanctuary. And I'm going to put Drown in the Lock on top. Okay, we're gonna take 6. We gotta kill this Dryad, otherwise we just lose to them playing lands of all things. We play a land, make 2 more zombies, shoot down Snapcaster. Okay. Untap. We draw Drown. Play Field of Ruin. Drown in the Lock, Dryad now. Okay. Pass the turn. Problem is, we're stuck at exactly as many lands as we have in this moment. They don't have a Ghost Quarter effect, so bounce Mystic Sanctuary. Tap all of my opponent's creatures. And hope that's enough. Hope that repeatedly doing that is enough. Eladmary's Call, Eladamri's Call, another Primeval Titan. When 2 isn't enough! Gotta go with Primetime number 3. I mean, if they get all the lands out of their deck, we're no longer worried about Valakut. And if they can't interact with Cryptic... Oh, they have Bog. They have Bog and they'll have Ghost Quarter. So this is kind of a pipe dream. Because they do have other bounce lands, I think. I don't think they run just like the 1. And that's 2 of our 4 Cryptics exiled, so... Yep. Play Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. They go to combat. We fetch up a Watery Grave. Untapped. Activate... Do we have a swamp? Yeah, we do. We're going to take out Valakut. Get our last swamp. Tap and draw. If our opponent even, like, Ghost Quarters us, hazarding a guess that we might be weak to Ghost Quarter, we are so boned. Oh, no. Okay, whew. Tapped so many permanents, Moto lagged. So we untap. We need to draw our other Cryptic. Opponent played a fetch land. Draw Snapcaster. Oh no, we have to Snapcaster Cryptic just to stay alive another turn. Alright, well, we're gonna do what has to be done. But, I gotta be honest. Things are looking pretty grim. Oh man. I mean, it's not like we can mill them out or anything like that, and they're still at 20 life. Flash in Snapcaster. Target Cryptic. Man, if I had a Rakdos Charm right now, we could just kill our opponent. Tap all their guys and draw a card. Draw Cling to Dust, which I did not leave up the right mana to cast. But play Steve. We untap. Draw Blood Crypt. Cling to Dust of Valakut. We gotta draw Cryptic to stay alive, and then who knows how we live. Yeah. It's game. Oh, we lost to the Cavern of Souls on the perfect turn. We could have... we definitely should have 4-1, because I should have beat that other player, but I missequenced my lands. That feels pretty bad. Let's go ahead and open our treasure chest. 10 play points and a mission briefing. Mission briefing is not worth anything. Okay, so let's talk about this in a better light than I did before. This deck is incredibly mentally intensive. To an extent that I wouldn't actually play this in a paper tournament. I would play it in modern leagues. If you want to play Control and you want to play on Moto and you want to play 1 hour-long match at a time, play this deck. It's really strong, and if you sit down and you think through your lines and you're decent enough with your clock, you can win a lot of games with this. Like, even the matches we lost, we 1-2'd, and we're very close to winning the last game that we played. Like I said, round 4, if I had sequenced my lands correctly, if I hadn't misclicked on Mystic Sanctuary, which is the bane of every Moto player's existence is misclicks, they're bound to happen eventually. I definitely could have beaten them, I think, with the actual correct sequence that we were supposed to have taken, because I would have had the mana to do Kolaghan's Command and things like that when I needed to. Anyway, in round 5, our opponent just happened to have the clutch Cavern of Souls, and honestly, I got a little bit greedy keeping that hand. If I had kept any other hand, I probably would have beaten them, or at least had a better shot at beating them. The repeated... We even could have infinitely cryptic tapped our opponent out, but they're playing Bajuka Bog. And the only reason that didn't work, because we still, even after they bogged us, could have infinite cryptic tapped them and then just had them draw out because there were so many less cards in their deck than ours. We still lost because our opponent could Vesuva Bajuka Bog. That's the only reason we lost. So, like, this deck is really powerful. And I'm sorry because I kind of badmouthed it in the other league. I was not having a good time. I made the mistake of sitting down and playing all 5 matches back to back. Huge mistake. Do not do that, especially if you're like me. But yeah, no, sitting down, treating each sitting down, taking a break, and treating each match as a separate independent recording session allowed me to stay sharp enough to not make misplays, not go on tilt, and really display the power of this deck. So yeah, Bone, I hope this league was cathartic for you to watch, because you should watch this one. And I don't think I will be streaming this deck. It takes way too much of my brain power and way too long to play. But it is a lot of fun. And if you're looking for a really, really grindy option to start learning, this one is viable. Believe me. If this league didn't prove it for you, then I don't know what to tell you. But if you like this video and you want to see more like it, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, hope to see you guys there sometime. I thought I had something else I was going to say, but it's escaping me. Oh yeah, minor announcement. So in approximately 18-ish days, 17 from the time this video goes live, I will be on a several-day road trip, hopefully back to my folks' place in Illinois for the holidays. So I will be gone for an extended period of time. I am going to be taking my entire setup with me. The internet there may not be good enough to stream, but it should be good enough to record and upload. And so there shouldn't be too... I'm going to try and backlog a few videos for the time that I'm driving. And then I will be... I may not be able to stream for like up to 6 weeks. I have to go home because I have a niece that is about to be born, and I am about to become an uncle for the first time. You only really become an uncle once, and then you're always an uncle, I guess. Yeah, so I'm going to be home for an extended period of time over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and into the first week of January when she's due. So yeah. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that the streams may have to go by the wayside, but I will be still recording daily content while I'm there, unless something catastrophic happens. So keep your ear to, I guess, my Twitter and Discord. If you're not in it, you can jump in the Discord. Yeah, all right. Well, that's enough of me rambling, and I'm sure this video is going to take eons to edit, so I should probably stop talking. All right. Well, y'all have a good time. Bye. You're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for the support.